Did you know that in the 2022 Saints Row reboot, one of the many finishes your character can perform is this? So this lethal finishing move is a reference to this scene from the 1984 movie The Karate Kid. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Easter Eggs, the series where we cover some of the best Easter eggs found in video games. As always, if you think you know of a video game Easter egg that I'm yet to cover, then let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to check it out. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like on this video, and if you do, I'll send you a box of kittens. Oh, and before we get started, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Doomsday Last Survivors. Doomsday Last Survivors is a zombie survival strategy game where you can battle hordes of the undead, or hordes of real-world players thanks to the game's online PvP modes, where winning will always feel that little bit sweeter. Speaking of winning, the guys and girls over at Doomsday Last Survivors are giving you all the chance to win a $1,000 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is click the link in the description. Consider that an early Christmas present from the guys at Doomsday. Now, in order to survive the zombie apocalypse, you're going to need to use every tool at your disposal. You can reinforce and improve your shelter, train up troops who can specialise in certain skills, and recruit the strongest heroes. Equally important though is how you use those resources. A bad leader will soon find themselves in trouble if they don't know how to use even the strongest of allies. I personally managed to survive until wave 12, and I challenge you to do better. Something that I didn't expect is being able to explore the world of Doomsday. You can travel freely around the game world where you're never sure what you'll find, and if you even want to find it. So to check out Doomsday Last Survivors and also be in with a chance to win an Amazon gift card, click the link in the description. Every click helps the channel out a ton, and who knows, you could end up $1,000 richer. Once again, thank you to Doomsday Last Survivors for sponsoring today's video, and without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with open world survival game Grounded. Having fully released a couple of weeks ago, Grounded has been met with overwhelmingly positive reviews. And this makes me happy, because Grounded was developed by Obsidian, who are a brilliant team of developers. Now, we have checked out some of the Easter eggs in Grounded before, back when it was in early access, with my favourite find being the giant Battletoad. Well, the first of today's Grounded Easter eggs can be found at this location on the map. So this Sword in the Stone is a reference to the tale of, well, the tale of the Sword in the Stone. Now, of course, Grounded isn't the only game to nod in the direction of the Sword in the Stone, with Horizon Forbidden West and Dying Light also referencing the tale. The next Grounded Easter egg actually references another open world survival game. At this location on the map, you can find this. So this creepy cave filled with ant heads on sticks is a reference to open world survival horror game The Forest. In The Forest, you play as the lone survivor of a plane crash who has to live on an island full of cannibalistic mutants. The cannibals will often place the heads of their meals on sticks for players to find, much like the ant heads in the cave. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that this is a reference to The Forest, but 3 or 4 people did message me saying that it was, so let me know what you think. Next up is pensioner murdering sandbox Just Die Already. Just Die Already sees you playing as an OAP who has been kicked out of their retirement home and forced to live in a world that wants them dead. Fortunately, there are ways to fight back, with the energy hammer being one of those ways. So it almost certainly doesn't need explaining, but just in case, this electric hammer is a reference to Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. The other Easter egg that I found in Just Die Already is a reference to one of the most referenced TV shows in video games. If you head to the crypt, you can find this. So this coffin was apparently home to someone called W.Y., but when opening the coffin, all we found was drugs. This is a reference to Breaking Bad's drug-dealing chemistry teacher, Walter White. Up next is a game that I'm betting you forgot about. Rage 2 was released in 2019, and saw you shooting, driving, and exploding your way through a post-apocalyptic world. It's one of those games that seem to come and go, barely having any time in the spotlight. It's a shame really, as the game is solid enough and did have some pretty awesome Easter eggs, but if a game doesn't catch on, then what can you do? Now, today's Easter egg from Rage 2 can be found in the Rise of the Ghosts DLC. Released shortly after the main game, this DLC was pretty much more of the same, though it was home to a really cool Easter egg. At the Serpent Tower, you climb a really long ladder.
What a thrill.
So your character saying "what a thrill" is a reference to the song Snake Eater from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. The opening lyric to that song, which can be heard when climbing a really long ladder, is "what a thrill."
What a thrill.
That's not all though. Once you reach the top of the tower, you can see that someone has jumped from the top but didn't survive, which is hardly surprising. Anyway, heading back down the tower will reveal a familiar looking body. So this man who couldn't fly is a reference to Assassin's Creed, with my personal opinion being that it looks like Ezio. Of course, Rage 2 isn't the only game to depict a dead assassin. In The Witcher 2 you could find another body which would cause Geralt to say this.
Guess they'll never learn.
Now, when it comes to Easter eggs, the Kingdom Rush series is one of the most Easter egg packed there is. We originally covered Kingdom Rush Vengeance in episode 50 of this series, where we found tons of references to movies, games, and just about everything else in between. Now, the first of the Kingdom Rush Vengeance Easter eggs for today's video can be found on the Gerald Lightseeker level. If you click the route that I do, this will happen. So clicking the route will cause Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy to appear. Next up, on the Northerners Outpost level, if you repeatedly click the snowman, this will happen. So the boring old snowman will turn into Olaf from Disney's Frozen. I'm sure there's loads more Easter eggs that I haven't found in Kingdom Rush, and if you know of any that I haven't covered, then please let me know. Right, let's end today's video with Ghost Hunting Spookfest Phasmophobia. Now, Phasmophobia has a pretty decent selection of Easter eggs, with even video game horror icon Slenderman making an appearance. Slenderman isn't the only creepy figure that can be found in Phasmophobia, with this mysterious thing watching you from the rafters in the game's lobby. Well, in the most recent update, the lobby has changed quite a bit, but a familiar face still lurks in the shadows. Now, the final Easter egg for today's video is extremely creepy. You may remember in the previous version of the lobby that you could be jump scared by looking at a door. Well, looking at the door now is a lot scarier. So strange cloaked figures will spawn before closing in on you and then disappearing. Now, I did manage to get a closer look at these mystery cloak people, and one thing I noticed is their breath. If you look closely, you can see them breathing, which if anything makes them spookier. Now, I'm not a Phasmophobia expert, so if there is some in-game reason for this Easter egg, then please let me know in the comments. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in video games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.